Hey, what's up? PizzaLovingNerd here. Welcome to a new series called Dead Distros, where distros die. Basically, in the series, I'm going to be going over dead distros, what they did before they died, and why they're discontinued. So let's start. So the first distro we are doing is Fuduntu. I don't know what's in the title. You can read it. Fuduntu was a Fedora-based Linux distro created by Andrew Wyatt, and it is designed to fit in somewhere between Fedora and Ubuntu, hence the name. And while optimized for netbooks and other portable computers, it is a general-purpose OS. After forking Fedora 14 in early November 2011, Fubuntu became an independent distribution and is no longer considered a remix of Fedora. It also never qualified as a spin because it had packages that are not in Fedora. Now, we'll get to why it was discontinued later. Now, on the first boot, it has a welcome screen, so the installer is pretty similar to how regular Fedora does its installer, where you basically click on install and you configure everything once you get inside of the system. So once we get in, it will give you an installer. It's just license info. You create a username. It's basically the same way Fedora does it. So once we're done with that, we have to sync in the time. I think that's accurate. And then we hit finish. And now we're in and we can log in. So let's see what this desktop looks like. And oh boy, this is a distro from 2013 with a welcome screen. Some distros should learn that. Or at least I think this is a welcome screen. Let it load. Yep, it is a welcome screen. So, if a distro had a welcome screen in 2013, I don't see why a distro can't have a welcome screen now. So this is what the system looks like when you first boot into it. Now I'm going to change the resolution so that this is actually full screen. For whatever reason, I can't actually do 1080p, so this resolution will work. So this is, as you can see here, we have a dock on the bottom. This is, I think, Cairo dock. And then we have applications, places, and system at the top. Now, if we head over to about this computer, this is actually GNOME 2.32.0. Now, this is actually one of the final versions of GNOME 2, the GNOME 2 series. So this could be pretty interesting to look at. Now we got a simple application installer and GNOME tweaker here. So this is a pretty interesting application. This is basically both a software center and a tweak tool. It looks like there's a bug. I'm guessing that the repositories are down for this distro, and that's why I am unable to access the install software tab. So anyways, if we click on system settings, I think that's the default. There's also information, which will show you information about your computer. This is a VirtualBox. There's repositories, where you can choose repositories. Recover RPM, I don't really know what this is. I think it's a backup tool. Computer Doctor. This just has some extra things you can do. If you go to Study Linux, we have some tutorials and tips of the day. There's preferences for this app, and then there's others. So this is a pretty cool program included. This is supposed to be the Ubuntu of Fedora, the same way that Ubuntu is to Debian. So it includes some proprietary codecs by default to make your experience better. It customizes GNOME to make it a little bit more efficient. And yeah. Now, just to see, I want to see how old some of the software is. So right here we have Chromium. This is Chromium 25, the latest and greatest from 2013. Let's look at LibreOffice, see what version it's running. This is running LibreOffice 4.0.1.2. And I'm pretty sure 6.1 or at least 6.0 is out. 6.1 might be out, I can't remember. Now, if you right-click and change background, it actually lets you choose different themes here. So I think that's a GNOME 2 feature because Malte has a similar feature. So that's pretty cool because I've actually never used GNOME 2 regular. I'm going to go with this Fire Engine one because it's basically the Fuduntu one but with a different color. And there's a lot of them. There's Vivid Blue, Silver, Sea Green, Graphite, Gold, Fuduntu Elementary, whatever that is, Fuduntu Classic. There's quite a few good-looking themes in here, and there's a lot of variations of the color for the window borders, so that's pretty cool. I like this green one, too. Overall, this was cool for its time. I actually might have ran this back then if I was a Linux user back then, the same way I am now. This is actually a really cool distro. Even though it's kind of a general use distro similar to Ubuntu, it still is pretty interesting because it's Fedora based. It's got a crazy customization of GNOME too. It's pretty cool looking, and overall, this has been a pretty cool experience. Now, why did this distro die? Well, on a team meeting held on 14th of April 2013, it was decided that Fuduntu would discontinue development and no new versions would be released. Instead, they're going to be working on a new rebased OS with a new name. Eventually, they announced Cloverleaf Linux, which was an OpenSUSE-based distro. Unfortunately, on August 28, 2013, an article from OStatic was written about an announcement on the Cloverleaf website saying that an OpenSUSE-based distribution would not be possible. However, they did decide to maintain an add-on repository with their version of the kernel, Mesa and Wine, as well as Netflix Desktop. I never knew that existed. And or Pipelight and KLYDE, which is supposed to be a lightweight version of KDE. And it was going to be targeting OpenSUSE 12.3 and OpenSUSE Factory. Now, I'm not sure if this add-on repository is still maintained or not. I doubt it is, but whatever. Still, this has been a cool adventure looking at this old distro with an old desktop, and I hope to do this series more often. This is actually a really interesting series just to make in general. Anyways, thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, please leave a like, comment, etc. And consider checking out the Patreon, just like Michelle Vantino and new Patreon supporter, who's at the highest tier, Sam Covert. Sorry, I'm probably butchering your name, I'm sorry. Thank you to those two Patreon supporters for helping to support the channel and what I do on the channel. I really appreciate the support. Anyways, I hope you guys like this new series, and I'll see you in the next video.